Leadership Chattanooga is a thriving community of emerging local leaders who come together to explore community issues and gain the skills needed for success in leadership roles. Sponsored by the Chattanooga Chamber Foundation, the program provides comprehensive leadership training through interaction with top community leaders, service projects at local schools, and experiential learning opportunities, including a police ride-along and a trip to Nashville to meet with state legislators. Leadership Chattanooga participants graduate ready to lead our community into the future with a better understanding of our city and the proven ability to make a difference as demonstrated by their service projects. Leadership Chattanooga is
enlightening,
fun,
exciting,
educational,
impressive,
eye-opening.
Our project was the Red Bank Community School. The major focus of it was to make the school basically a hub for the community.
Whether it's classes, whether it's to connect individuals or families to resources that are within the community for things that they may need.
Anything to kind of improve education and the cohesiveness of the community with the school was we want the teachers and students to come together. We want to be able to offer additional help to students.
I don't know, it's just so different from when I went to school. Parent involvement is less. You've got parents working 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet. Just anything that encompasses a family so that they can be whole and healthy, because research has shown that whole and healthy families have much higher student success.
Being able to sort of extend yourself and open the doors after school hours to have tutoring, there's always a need for tutoring, and they've had a large response. And I think that's where this community school project really comes in.
Because before we set this up, they didn't tutor. Teachers and students didn't really get together outside of class.
And they know that if they're here, I'm going to stay on them. So.
Once family members, buy into it, and the kids start seeing how much their parents value education, then they start to think a little bit more about it.
So we had some teachers that presented the idea of a museum to educate the public about the North Chickamauga Creek watershed. So Leadership Chattanooga actually picked up that idea, and it was just a beautiful relationship from there on out.
The need that we found for them that was really important to the students was to show the history of Soddy Daisy that represented a large piece of history in this area that isn't really known very well.
We hope that that's a smooth flowing process for people to be able to access the museum and experience learning from the mural, being in the building and viewing the artifacts.
Everything, all the walls were plain white, and now you can see that you have the blue for the sky and the green for the trees and the blue at the bottom for the creek and the water.
We have such biodiversity in the gorge that it's only found in a few other places on our planet. It's amazing, and most people in our county don't even know it exists. So we want to educate the community as well as our students, and it's a wonderful platform to grab hold of their interest and to ignite a passion for learning.
Now, one thing that is very important to mention is that at some point in the future, this is just a foundation, because the students will have the privilege to then paint either an animal or a plant or any of their findings from outside. They'll have the privilege to come and paint it on these murals.
We dedicate this building to educating the students of Hamilton County.
Our project is working with Crystal Capp, school librarian at Clifton Hills Elementary School. She has this library that she wanted to transform into a makerspace.
The basic general definition of a makerspace is that it's a place full of possibilities. And I got my inspiration from the Chattanooga Public Library, and I just started thinking, what if I could bring that to my students? What if they had access to a 3D printer? What if they could have Legos out and other things to make and build and create? Those are opportunities that some of my students just don't have.
So there's a freedom of thought, a freedom of creativity that goes along with being in a makerspace. I think her desire was to ignite the creative minds of the kids in this area, not just within the school, but in the surrounding community.
And dream big was, they kept saying, so if you could do this, what would it look like? And then they went to work behind the scenes, sketching out designs and talking about paint colors and how are we going to get this done.
We reinvented the space and moved tables and chairs, we moved shelves, we painted the blue color.
It's pretty amazing to watch students come in to this space and their reaction to the activities, and most of them will say this is the best place to be in the whole school right now. They want that experience to create, and they can hardly wait to get in here. And last week I had 2 girls who don't normally get along with each other, and they got to work on a creation, and they could not wait to show me, and they came over and said, look what we made together. And to me, that makes the space worth it. That's progress, creating those collaborative moments and saying we may have our differences, but we're going to learn to work together.
So our project is really bridging the digital divide in Red Bank, Tennessee. And what that means is the students in many cases have devices that they can do their homework remotely, but they may not have internet connection at home. So there's really kind of a gap between the availability of technology and the availability of internet connection. So what we're building is a directory of businesses that would provide Wi-Fi access for free to students.
Only 30% of your students have Wi-Fi accessibility when they leave your school grounds, and what we can do, sort of just opening it up and giving more access, it really is a great thing to think about.
Well, I think the internet has changed a lot of things. Technology has changed a lot of things just in the last 5 years. And these kids have that technology in their hands, but again, the device doesn't work if it's not connected.
We really felt like this was a tangible product. It was something that could last after us, something that really could make a difference.
This need is real, and it's going to continue to be a real issue for that community as more and more children have the devices. Not everyone has access, and I think many people take it for granted that everybody's kind of on the same playing field when in fact they're not.
We all, whether we live in Red Bank or we live on Signal Mountain or we live in the middle of downtown, I think we all want our students to be educated and be well equipped and prepared.
We were fortunate that we got our first choice. It's a healthy eating and sustainable foods project here at East Lake Academy.
We are very aware that in this community there were a lack of opportunities for people to have healthy, whole foods.
We started with the healthy eating concept and how do we work into curriculums so that kids enjoy it, it becomes a learning opportunity, and it really morphed into this, well, why don't we start with the growing piece? So as you work through the year, you'll start with your seedlings and you'll work towards these fruits and vegetables that then you can start, you're invested in it, So we were able to talk with the organizers, the Partners in Education program, and they provided funding for all of the materials that we'll be utilizing to build this physical structure of the greenhouse.
We're actually going to build it. That means we're going to bring people together. There are going to be parents, there are going to be kids, we're going to have hammers and wrenches and drills, and we're all going to come together on a Saturday morning, bright and early, and we're going to build this greenhouse. Actually, the project is twofold. There is actually the greenhouse that will be located on the campus of the school, but the school also has had the ability to have 25 personal greenhouses that students will be able to take to their homes, where they'll be able to grow fruits and vegetables in their home as well.
One of the most interesting days that we had was the day in Nashville. When we visited the Capitol, the legislative sessions that we were able to see, it gives you a deeper appreciation for what our local officials are charged to do.
We were able to meet with one of our local representatives, Gerald McCormick, our state senator, Senator Watson, Governor Haslam came and talked to us. And one of the amazing things for me was how they stressed the importance of feedback from the community.
All of these are important issues, and I think that too often people get wrapped up in the hot button issues and on a national scale when it comes to politics, and they don't focus enough on their local elected leaders and what they're doing.
we were able to go in the backyard of some of these really talented artists from around the area.
That day meant a lot to me, to be able to see things from a different perspective. We got to meet the guy who made that metal dress down there on Main Street, you know, and got to see his work in his shop and just the creative space he has.
As part of the Law Enforcement and Justice Day, we had to do a police ride-along.
We got to tour the jail, and we had a great discussion with Chief Fletcher about the violence reduction initiative. So it was really eye-opening.
One of the really fun activities that we did towards the end of the day was called Shoot, Don't Shoot. And it was truly a hands-on approach to kind of put us in the shoes of some of our local law enforcement officers as they're faced with decisions on, do I pull my gun out? Do I point my gun? Do I fire my gun?
I know that they have to make a decision very quickly, and sometimes we underestimate the danger they put themselves into.
To see what our police officers have to do day in and day out is incredibly humbling. Again, the things that we get to do in leadership are incredible. And so for Healthcare Day, I got to sit in and watch surgeries. And as a marketing person, I would never get to see that. So it was incredible to have the opportunity to do that.
You know, it's been totally fulfilling to be a part of the program. I've learned so much.
I think that it has increased our awareness of community needs, that there are no easy solutions to the challenges facing this community.
There is a lot of gray. You can't just throw your hands up and say, well, there's no solution. Sometimes just you being present is part of the solution. And I'm realizing that I need to be more present.
What is important is all the connection and the relationship you can build through the program, and we all want to make a difference.
Everything had a purpose, and it was related to our community, to our city of Chattanooga, exposing us to things that maybe we're not aware of, but then also having a reflective piece of thinking, okay, now that you know, what can you do? You know, what can you as an individual or you within your field do to better our city and better our community?
I have now a network of friends and connections that I can reach out to, and together we can make a difference.